Run, rinse, repeat. Because running is an obsession.
Yeah, welcome to the show, guys. Cuan, welcome back. We missed you last week. Give us an update on your trip to India.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I really missed not being on the show last week, but I had to recover. I actually ended up picking up tonsillitis on the way back from India. But besides that, it was an out of this world experience. I flew business class. I don't know if you saw the photo. That was like, I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to fly normal again. But yeah, just being at the race, the biggest 10 kilometer in the world, 35,000 runners. Also, the biggest prize money for a 10K. There was $26,000 for first place. And the who's who of running was there. Joshua Cheptegei, 5,000 and 10,000 meter world record holder, double Olympic champion. He won the men's race. Still recovering from his Tokyo Marathon where he ran 2:05 earlier this year. But yeah, just in terms of the organization of the event, the running boom that India is experiencing, like the guys told me that the first timed event ever in India was 21 years ago in 2004 at the Mumbai Marathon. And this company now owns the four biggest races in India, one of which is the Mumbai Marathon. And yeah, just in Bengaluru, where I was for the event, it's actually like the running capital of India. And we even see that in Comrades entries. There's a huge boom of Indian runners coming out to run Comrades. So yeah, running definitely taking off in India, and it was an out of this world experience. But yeah, David, besides my trip and everything, I've got major FOMO that I'm not running Comrades this year. So many people running up and down the week. How's your week been? And are you running Comrades this year?
Funny story. Last week we ran the trail run in the Berg, and I was convinced that I broke a toe, and I managed to do a few runs. And seems that it was really badly bruised, and I am able to run, and I finally have made this decision that I am going to run Comrades. I was always on the fence this year. And then yesterday I fell down the stairs getting ready to fly down to Durban. But I managed to do a run yesterday, feeling a lot better again this morning. So it's been a bit of a rough ride this year for me. Done about half the mileage that I normally do in the build-up to Comrades. Yeah, why not? I'm going to line up despite the fact that I haven't done enough training this year, but I'll be there on race day.
You know, David, I'm always like a person that looks for a positive outcome in everything. And although you haven't done all of the training that you've necessarily wanted to do, I still have this feeling that you're going to run a really good race. I remember Bruce Fordyce used to always say it's better to go into Comrades under-prepared than over-prepared. So I'm still holding fingers for you. I heard you're going to be doing a nice long run soon with the vet. So I've got my fingers hold for you, David. I think this is going to be your year.
Yeah, thanks, Cuan. I think it's a bit of an experiment this year. I am down in Durban for tomorrow's beloved long run. We're running 52 Ks on the route, and I'm going to be running with Yvette tomorrow to be a bit of a tour guide for her, because this will be her first Comrades. Well, let's see what happens. I think it comes down to where I'm going to be seated this year. And on that note, welcome, Stuart.
Hi, David. Hi, Cuan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Stuart. Nice to have you here. Always see your blogs, and nice to hear the voice behind the pen.
Stuart, do you have any updates on the batches? We haven't heard anything since the entry cutoff. The batches at Comrades, how is it going to work this year? Have you got any information for us?
I can't give you anything definitive, because it's just not something that I've kind of looked into. I've been, I guess you could say, a little bit distracted with Two Oceans for the last month. But the plan, as I understand it, is still that there's two batches. They start 15 minutes apart. Each of the waves, or each of the batches within each of the waves, will be determined based on the on the seeding of runners' times. At the start of the second batch will be the charity runners. banners and the green numbers, which I think is quite nice that they get to start, right at the front of the field. I know that there was quite a lot of debate about what the cutoff would be, what the marathon time cutoff would be. I know I did look into last year, and last year the median qualification time was, I think, a 4 hour and 2 minute marathon, which I think surprised a lot of people. They thought it would be a little bit higher than that. But it's quite difficult to predict because obviously this year the qualification time has been raised to the 5 hours again, which it was in the past. So that will naturally result in a slightly slower median qualification time. But yeah, other than that, I can't tell you much more.
Cuan, just looking back at last year's results at Comrades, Piet Wiersma took the win, and we did chat to him briefly last week on our episode. But that was a very, very close finish. Dan was right on Pete's heels, and not once did Pete actually turn around and look over his shoulder. I was convinced that Dan was going to catch him on that finishing straight. Do you think we're going to see a turn of events in this year's Comrades?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very exciting men's race. Pete is no stranger to sprint finishes at Comrades. When he came here in 2023, he was the one chasing down Tete Tijana. And then, coming into last year's race, it was all said, okay, Pete is a novice again because it's an uprun and it's a total different event. But then he showed us who Piet Wiersma really is, and he won the race. So coming into this year's race, people can't say he's a novice again. They know exactly what he can do. I don't think we're going to see any records or anything, given it's a longer course. But in terms of the top guys to look out for, I definitely think that Pete is the man to beat. Tete badly wants to make amends for what happened to him in Comrades last year, where he essentially went from fourth with like 10 kilometers to go to out of the golds. He was feeling dizzy, he was cramping, but, there's going to be a lot of other athletes that also want to prove that they are the ones to beat. Joseph Maniedi, who finished fourth in Comrades last year, he's already a veteran, but he ran his best ever Comrades last year. He ran a 5:27 on the up. He's coming back this year. He recently ran the Eland marathon, where he ran a 2:18 as a 41-year-old, or 42, I think he is now. And he was right on the heels of Tete Tijana in that race. There's also the Frenchman, Guillaume Roule, who's coming from France. He's a well-accomplished 100-kilometer runner who's actually very, very good friends with Piet Wiersma. And funnily enough, for the 2023 Comrades, Guillaume was the one who said that Piet Wiersma is going to win Comrades. And he nearly came right with that prediction. Piet was only 2 seconds behind Tete on the finish. So, yeah, I think, Bong Musa also looking really strong. You can't count him off on a down run. But yeah, the men's race is going to be a real exciting affair.
Cuan, Tete Tijana, he was 14th last year. Do you see him coming in the top 10 again this year?
Yeah, definitely. As much as all the focus is on Pete looking to do a back-to-back victory, I think Tete, if anyone writes him off, they're making a huge mistake. I think Tete, is a strong, versatile runner. He hasn't got many Comrades in his body, so he still has a long history left with the Comrades. And I think that if anyone thinks that Tete Tijana is done for and, is hoping that he can come in the top 10, then I think they're going to be mistaken, because Tete is a man who knows how to prepare for Comrades, with his coach, together with his training partner, Edward Motibi, who's also going to be up there. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting race. And Tete wants to retain his down title. And if he does do it, he will be 3 down run wins in a row from the man from Rustenburg.
I would not write any of these guys off. When it comes to Comrades, there's always a surprise. But seeing as Pete was second on the previous down run, and that was when he actually missed all of his bottles apart from 3, I think it was. Hopefully this year, with the elite water tables, he'll get his nutrition, and let's hope we see some exciting racing. Over to the ladies' race, there's no doubt that Gerstein will be the one to watch. As I mentioned, Yvette will be running her first Comrades this year. So Unknown territory for her. She's obviously got that former 50-kilometer world record to her name. So not really a novice ultra-distance runner.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for the women's race as well. You know, everyone says that Gerda is going to win, but there are unknown quantities coming now. You know, I was very sad for Yvette that she fell ill. You know, just before Two Oceans this year, she had said to me that this was the first time that she's actually gone to a Two Oceans marathon where all her training was on par. She was looking forward to the race, only then to come down with an illness, you know, during the race week. But I think it's also a blessing in disguise, because although Two Oceans was Yvette's main focus, she did have Comrades in the back of her mind. And I think of any of the ladies, Yvette is actually coming into Comrades a lot fresher than everybody else, because she didn't finish Two Oceans. Yes, she's now run Loskop and Omdi Dam and races like that. But let's bear in mind, she didn't race those. Those were just going to be long runs that she would have done anyway, regardless of having finished Two Oceans or not. So, you know, I think Yvette can put a very interesting spanner in the works for Comrades. She's a very, very strong athlete. Her godmother, Frances van Black, won the race back in 1992. So she's got that history, you know, of Comrades in her family. It would be amazing if Yvette could pull off a win. There would be 2 wins in a family. That's never happened before, apart from the Russian twin sisters back in the day. But yeah, like even Alexandra Morozova, the Russian lady, she's coming back this year. She finished second last year. And it's unfortunate that these ladies are running in the era of Gerda Steyn, because Morozova herself ran such a fast Comrades uprun last year that in any of the other years, if there was no Gerda Steyn, she would have won by miles. And since running Comrades last year and finishing second, she's improved her marathon PB as well to just over 2 hours and 30 minutes. So with Gerda running these fast times and, you know, coming in with this fast marathon speed, don't forget, Yvette herself has a 2:26 marathon. She had a really strong showing at the Paris Olympic Games last year in the marathon, where she was the second South African across the line. Now you've got Morozova as well coming with a much faster marathon. So Comrades is far. You know, David, 89.9 kilometers. Anything can happen on the day. But yeah, I think both the men's and women's race is going to be very exciting. And who knows, maybe Yvette can pull the rabbit out of the hat on the day.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you the level of the ladies' run in the past few years. Incredible times. And I also see that Carla Molinaro has been benched. She's suffering with a bit of an injury at the moment and doing a lot of cross-training. So we'll see what happens with that. And hopefully she lines up and also in that lead bunch of ladies.
Oh, that's interesting to hear, David, because I never knew that she was injured. But like I said in the beginning of the show to you, sometimes it is good to come into Comrades underprepared than over. So I will also be holding thumbs and fingers for Carla to have a good run. If we look back at the uprun back in 2017, that was the first year that Gerda actually got a gold medal in Comrades. And she actually only ran 6 weeks in the preparation for that because she had a stress fracture. So Carla, if you are listening, we're rooting for you, and we hope that you can get on that start line come June down in Pietermaritzburg.
Certainly a strong field for this year, so I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great race. You know, the 10th place gold medal for the women is just getting faster and faster and faster each year. I think last year Loveness Matsiva ran 6:25, I think it was, on the uprun. She didn't even get a gold medal. So yeah, women's race getting really, really exciting.
Stuart, can we have an update on what is happening at Two Oceans Marathon?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I guess, it's probably anyone's guess, because there's not a lot of communication that's actually coming out from Two Oceans themselves, other than I've been receiving legal documentation and affidavits from their side. But the word that I've been getting from well-placed sources is that essentially they feel that they've put the 2025 issues behind them, and that they're moving forward with planning for 2026. I think that you'll probably find most of the runners don't think that it's time or that the 2025 issues have been properly addressed or accountability taken.
The City of Cape Town, are they going to back the race?
So, the City of Cape Town take safety very, very seriously, much more so than anywhere else in the country. So even last year I did the Bloberg Marathon, so fairly small field, I think about 800 runners, but they still had wave starts for safety reasons. I mean, you've in some park runs in Gauteng, you've got a bigger field than that. So you don't violate the City of Cape Town's permits. Now, back in 2019, Two Oceans did that with their ultra marathon, and relations with the City of Cape Town have been strained ever since. This year, I had a look after the race, and obviously they ran out of medals at the half marathon, somewhere in kind of the last half hour. So, and I worked out if it was the last half hour, it's about 2,500 runners. So whether it's 1,000, 2,500, but it's a lot of runners didn't get a medal. Definitely from about 310, 305 runners coming in from then weren't getting medals. I then looked at the numbers on the finishes, and I noted that there was way more finishes in 2025 than there was in 2023 and 2024. So I sent off some emails to the City of Cape Town, and I asked them what was the permit. And I then got an answer back saying that they were only allowed 17,000 runners. I then sent through some follow-on questions. They didn't reply directly to each of the questions, but they gave me an overall statement essentially acknowledging that the Two Oceans half marathon had drastically exceeded their permit limits, that there were major problems, and the city was very, very unhappy because of they essentially had flagrantly flouted safety safety considerations. Obviously, subsequent to that, it was covered in almost all of the mainstream traditional media houses. The City of Cape Town was also quoted as saying that they have withdrawn their sponsorship. Now, the sponsorship that they give is not money, but it's in kind. So essentially, all the traffic officers who are on the roads, waste management, logistics, all of those kind of things comes from the City of Cape Town free of charge. That's worth about just under 4 million rand. So they've withdrawn that. Now, that's a major blow to Oceans, because if the event does happen next year, they'll have to pay for those services. But the other thing is the City of Cape Town actually grants the permits. So there is a very, very good chance they won't grant the permit because last year's permit was violated. And obviously this is not the first time that Two Oceans have done that. Having said that, what I expect will happen is that the City of Cape Town will use this as leverage to insist that the current structure, the kind of the board structure, which is filled with amateurs, and obviously you've got, I guess, varying degrees of skill levels of boards in various years. But I think the city is just fed up with dealing with amateurs, and they will insist that a professional events company like a Faces or a Stillwater or someone like that is brought in to actually run the race and organise the race. You know, remember the City of Cape Town, they're used to dealing with lots of different providers. They've got the Argus Cycle Tour, they've got Cape Town Marathon, they've got ABSA Run Your City series, all of those kind of things. And they're used to dealing with professionals. And unfortunately, Two Oceans, every year there are issues between Two Oceans and the City of Cape Town. I do hope that the race carries on. I love Two Oceans. It's my favourite ultra marathon. I did my 20th this year, so I'd love to run my 21st next year. I know a few years ago they did an economic study, and then I think at that stage, which was 2018, I think the figure was 762 million rand per year that Two Oceans brings into the local economy. So I doubt the City of Cape Town wants to throw that away, but they will want the shortcomings addressed and I guess radically addressed, before they allow the event to go ahead.
Is one of my favorite races as well. But I guess what we can learn from this is that we need to, like Comrades, we need to professionalize the sport, and it's no longer a small club-held event. It's a huge business, and it needs to be treated as such. And City of Cape Town is right to want to bring in professionals to handle the hosting of these events.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, I think that you're not just dealing with the event and the logistics, you're actually dealing with people's lives. And if you look at some of the safety issues and potential issues of negligence around it, really, it's just not good enough. You can't actually do that when you've got, that thousands of people, who are doing endurance events. You do need professionals involved to ensure that it's a well-run race, but also it's a safe race.
Looking ahead to after Comrades, because believe it or not, there is life after Comrades. Some of the races that we can look forward to include the Discovery Series coming up starting in July. In Johannesburg, we're starting with Gerald Fox on the 13th of July. There is also the Randburg Harriers 21K on the 27th of July. Then in August, we have Old Eds 21 and Wanderers 21 on the 24th of August. So that's a really nice series to look into if you are looking for something to do after Comrades. We have the Cape Town Marathon on the 19th of October and something slightly different, the Carcliff Trail Series that is between the 19th and the 21st of September is a really great one, and I would really recommend that for road runners.
If you're looking specifically at marathons, some of these are not great qualifier marathons because they're quite tough, but they're fantastic destination marathons, and would highly recommend for a weekend away. July, you've got the Knysna Forest Marathon. If you're going all the way to Knysna from Cape Town or from Joburg or wherever you live, don't mess around with a half marathon. It's congested. Yes, it's nice, but it's not nearly as pretty as the marathon. 21 extra Ks deep inside the indigenous forest. Absolutely spectacular. That's one of the best marathons on the calendar. If you look at August, there's another lovely race down in the Cape called the Riebeckberg Marathon. Also a lovely weekend away. You're in wine country there. There's also like olives and all sorts of stuff to do around. That's another lovely low-key marathon that I would recommend. If you're feeling a little bit cold after winter and you want to defrost, the Messina Marathon, I did that last year. Now Messina is right at the top of South Africa, right next to the Beitbridge border with Zimbabwe. It's incredibly hot there, but also just spectacular scenery. You're running amongst baobab trees. Normally very, very hot, but another nice marathon if you want to get away somewhere. Another one I would look at in September, which is one of my personal favorites, is the Foot van Africa Marathon. That's in Bredasdorp, which is about 2 hours drive from Cape Town Airport. A nice, really tough marathon. You go up a mountain pass, and the best way I've heard that described is they say the first half messes with your legs and the second half messes with your mind. And you just do these rolling hills all the way back into Bredasdorp over the last sort of 17 Ks. I think there's 16 hills in those 17 Ks, but just rolling hills. But that's another really, really nice marathon that I'd recommend.
Thanks, Stuart. And another really popular one for September is, of course, Gun Run. That's always something that's been on my bucket list. I'd really like to give that one a go. There's plenty to look forward to after Comrades.
And today we've got Gary Britz from Rock Rabbit Sport joining us. Welcome, Gary.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Rock Rabbit is a local Cape Town-based running brand, and it focuses on trail running apparel and equipment. How and when did it start?
So we developed Rock Rabbit in about 2019. I ran a race called the Puffers, quite a famous race from Cape Point into Cape Town. And I was wearing a pack that I just got from China. And when I finished the race, I was very unhappy with the pack because everything was at the back and it was a terrible pack. And I spoke to my wife and I said to her, listen, I hate this pack for this and that reason. And she asked me what I wanted. And lo and behold, 2 days later, she had made the pack. She was in that kind of business where they manufacture with sewing machines and stuff. So the pack was awesome. And I had a friend asking me, hey, Gary, where did you get that awesome pack? So I said, well, my wife made it for me. And he said, hey, can't I get one? and I got her to making one. And then after that, we just kept on being asked. So that's how Rock Rabbit, the brand, was born, and how the little business started for trail runners.
It's great to hear these stories of how businesses start off very small ideas. I met you a few years back on the side of Table Mountain at UTCT when Anne was running the 100K. And shortly after that, I tried one of your Rock Rabbit hydration packs. Now, I've tried 3 different brands in the past, including Salomon, and these come at a hefty price tag. Yours, by far, is the best fit and the most comfortable, and to this day, that's the one that I prefer. What is the secret to creating items that are superior to commercial big brands out there?
Yeah, I think the secret with making trail running packs is listening to your customer. So you speak to the customer and you say, what are you looking for? What do you want? Where do you like everything? Asking the impertinent questions and going back to the development team and actually making it like the customer wants it. And I think that's how we started with Rock Rabbit, and with the first pack, our V1 Trail, and then we've progressed from that. We're very particular in the sourcing of our materials, making sure they're durable, long-lasting, and of a good quality, and that you can actually just chuck it into the washing machine and wash like anything else. So we're very careful about that. The nice thing about our brand is it's tailor-made in Cape Town. So if there's any repairs, we can actually do it. The other big brands are already unable to do it. You just have to buy a new pack with the other big brands. So that's what success of Rock Rabbit is, that you can send your pack in for a service and we can fix the little pieces and whatever else.
After sales service is definitely a unique business offering that you have. This year, Rock Rabbit has teamed up with the Comrades Marathon to sell branded Comrades hydration packs and belts for road running. In ultra-distance road running, especially for Comrades, it's not easy to have your seconding team get to you in time or as frequently as you might like them to. A hydration pack could be the answer to ensuring that everything you need is always on you. What is the capacity of your hydration belts and hydration packs? How much liquid can you have? How many pockets do they have, etc.?
It's a great honor to actually be cooperating and collaborating with the Comrades Marathon. I absolutely agree with you. Being a Comrades runner, green number myself, I actually know how difficult it is to actually find your seconds on the road, and them trying to find parking and everything else. And by the time you look, you've actually passed it. And that happened to me this last year. So it's always peace of mind when you can run with your own special little muti and your own powders, and you can actually carry your own water and everything else. So with the actual vests, you can carry 2 500 milliliter water bottles. I would actually suggest you only need 1. You can actually carry your cell phone. You can carry as much of the supplement stuff that you need. You can carry for 7-8 hours worth of stuff. And you can carry a buff. The nice thing about it as well is we want to try and encourage, a clean environment for Comrades. And a lot of times I actually take my sachets and I just stick them in my pocket of my hydration pack. And when I get to the end of the race, I chuck them out in the bin. So it's actually very nice for that. At the back of the trail vest has got a pocket where you can actually put a jacket. If you don't want to throw away your jacket at the start, you can just stick it at the back. So it's got way more than enough space for everything you need.
Gary, they really look great. I saw them in the Comrades newsletter, and with the Comrades logo on it, it's a real must-have. Where can we get hold of these, and what is the cost of them?
Yes, so at the moment you can order on our website, via our website, www.rockrabbitsports.co.za. The vests are 850 Rand and the belts are 480 Rand. The belts can take 500 milliliter soft flask, or you can just put your cell phone in with all your nutrition and whatever else. A lot of guys also run with their own cup in the belt, and that's quite useful. We will be at the Comrades Expo, and our stand number is stand B38.
And sizing, how do we go about getting the correct size?
The important part when you're ordering the vest, it's the same size as your t-shirt size. So if you're a medium t-shirt size, you must order a medium vest. That's how it works.
Aside from the Comrades branded gear, is Rock Rabbit exclusively trail running gear?
So although we sort of started off in the trail running community, we've realized that a lot of the road runners are starting to use the hydration vests, especially in training when they don't have support crew training-wise. I even know some guy that put ice in it to cool him down. It used as a cooling method in the Comrades. But yes, so we've diversified quite a lot into the road running spheres, and we had extremely good sales at many of the other races. I think one of the other things, a lot of the races are trying to encourage you carrying your own hydration because of the pressure they're getting from the environmental groups with all these plastic sachets and cups and stuff like that. So carrying your own nutrition and your own water is something that's going to get stronger and stronger going into the future.
Gary, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, and best of luck with the sales of your Comrades gear.
Yeah, David and team, thanks very much for having me on the show, and all the best.
And that brings us to the end of this episode. Cuan, Stuart, thanks for joining us, and have a great week.
Cool. You too.
Thanks.
For help with your training, visit a-teamcoaching.com.